Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I kind of have a full face today. There's a couple things missing, but the last all drugstore face that I put up, someone commented and said, have you tried, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Moira Beauty. I feel like that's not right. It's M-O-I-R-A. She said that they were a very affordable brand and that she hasn't heard many other content creators talking about them. So I thought, well, I'll look into it. And I have almost a full face. There's a couple things I'm missing. I don't have lipstick. Why don't I have lipstick? I thought I did. I just can't find it. And blush. And the reason I don't have blush is because I purchased one. I had it in my cart. And then they emailed me after they had shipped my order telling me they were out of stock of the blush. I would have much preferred they email me before they shipped it to see if I wanted an additional color. I will say that wasn't my favorite part about the experience, but they just were like, kind of like, too bad, so sad. We've already shipped your order. They wouldn't even like they didn't even offer to ship it separately. That's that. But other than that, I've been trying out these products for a while. I've had them for a little over a month now. So I'm going to do a full face and we're going to see how this all stacks out. So I will put the name of the product. Well, I'll tell you the name of the product, but also put how much it is because these are drugstore prices to an extent. The foundation is like $22, but they do have like I think it's either a 10 or 15% off code, like if you sign up for their emails. But honestly, y'all, I feel like I've seen some quote unquote drugstore brands at Ulta that have foundations that are that much, like in the 20s. So maybe this is just now the world we live in where drugstore makeup is in the $20 range. All right, let's start with complexion. They do have color correctors and they have quite a few shades. They have yellow, green, purple, and they also have peach and I believe orange. I got the peaches and cream because that is the shade that works best for my particular darkness under my eyes. So I will put it on one eye and see what you think. This is definitely a little bit thicker in texture than the Clinique airbrush, which I have been using for months now. Okay, so that's with the corrector and that's without. There is still more darkness than I'm used to right in this little trough area. So I'm gonna try to build that up. Even though it's like a thicker texture, I do feel like as you kind of swipe it on, it shears out a little bit, but building that up definitely did help. I do wish that like it was sold in store because I often have friends and people on YouTube and Instagram asking me about my favorite drugstore products, specifically a corrector, and I would love to be able to just send them into Walmart and get, you know, something like this, because even though it seems to be a little bit more high maintenance as far as application, which it is, I'm not gonna lie, I do enjoy it. I think it wears well under the concealer that I'm gonna be using, under concealers that I have used it with from other brands, because I've tried all of this stuff with other brands as well. And there's just not a ton of options, I feel like, for correctors at the drugstore. All right, let's talk about the Complete Wear Foundation. So this says it is weightless, full coverage, and ultra long wear. I got the shade 300 Nude Beige. It was not very easy finding shades because I could not find many swatches of this. Typically, if I'm not sure what shade I use, I'll just do a Google search and I'll go to images and I'll figure it out from there. But I think this is okay. Again, I've worn it many times before. So this is cruelty-free. I think everything is. Like, I feel like when I opened the website, it said 100% cruelty-free. It says it's long wear, water resistant, weightless foundation that leaves a natural looking skin tone with a matte finish. This buildable medium to full coverage foundation minimizes the appearance of pores and blurs out blemishes, spots, breakouts, and other small imperfections. Cruelty-free, paraben-free, sulfate-free, phthalate-free, gluten-free, made in Korea. I kind of wanted to show, this is obviously with the foundation and this is without. I woke up with a little bit more redness this morning than I typically have. So I do feel like the coverage is very solid, especially since, you know, I kept going in and stippling it and it didn't pick up any excess product. So this is the foundation. I don't think it said anything about the finish of it, but I feel like it's a pretty natural slash maybe a tad luminous. And they do only have the one foundation. I don't know if they have plans on, you know, bringing out more, maybe a specific matte one or a tinted moisturizer or something like that. They do, though, have two kinds of concealer. So one is called the Lavish Creamy Concealer. It comes in 12 shades. It says it's creamy, smooth, and lightweight, and it's perfect to even out your skin, cover dark circles, and other imperfections. I, however, got the Mega Concealer, and it is mega. It is a very large package. It does have 5 grams in it. So this one claims to be waterproof and long-lasting and super full coverage. So I think the Lavish Creamy is more of like a medium coverage maybe, and this one is claiming to be full. Now, I got the color number 250 Sand. I probably could have gotten even a shade lighter, but this works. And I meant to have tried this as a foundation before I came to do this video, but I haven't had a chance to do that. It is really full coverage, but you can see it's a little, this particular color is a little yellow. Once everything else is on my face, I mean, it does work out, but it is super full coverage. Those 3 little dots added quite a bit of coverage to my under eye. So I have used this one also with other color correctors. I've used a couple different setting powders, and I'm actually really impressed with how it wears throughout the day, especially for a more full coverage formula, because sometimes those tend to be a little too cakey on me, even if I am careful with how much product I use. But this one wore really well. Now again, that's way too yellow and probably too dark, but I get it to work for me. Now I'm gonna let all of that sink in, and let's start on the eyes. I got a few eye products because I just wasn't really sure what I was gonna end up liking. So I'm gonna start out with this 12 pan palette, and it's called Among the Stars. And it says it's a pressed pigment palette. None of these products have mirrors in them. So I do think that's another way that they're able to keep the cost down, but you will need a separate mirror if you're someone that uses packaging for that, especially while traveling. They have a lot of eyeshadow options when it comes to palettes, and this is just one kind, and they have 4 different shades. What I do like is that for most of their palette selections, you can buy an individual palette like this, which was $14, or you can buy a bundle. So you can buy all 4 of these for $48 if you wanted. So you're essentially saving $8 in that case. I'm gonna start with this matte shade. It's kind of a lighter shade, and this is my Sigma E35, and I'm just gonna try to blend that in the crease. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that this is my least favorite product that I hauled from this company. I don't know if the other palette shadows are the same quality or if this is just my luck with picking this one, but the pigment is just not there. This does have 9 straight mattes, 3 shimmers, and 1 kind of satin matte, or it's basically one of those mattes that has like flecks of glitter in it, which is across the board, not just from this company, but across the board, my least favorite shadow. I just don't find the point. I'm like, make it a shimmer or a matte, but let's not try to make it something in between like that. That's just my 2 cents. But you see I'm building this color up, and it's really just creating a small type of shadow in my crease. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to go into this color right here next to it, which is also matte, on my E54 from Sigma. And I'm gonna try to put a little bit of that on this outer corner and a little bit on the inner corner. Try to build it up. But do you see how like this color to me should translate a little darker than that on the eye? Just to me. I had this same issue with the Lorac palette that I used, and I did have 1 or 2 people say that they prefer their eyeshadows to be like that. So again, if you're someone that does, I think you're gonna love this formula. Now there is a lot of different eyeshadows. So they don't just have palettes, they have cream shadows, they have individual shadows, and I got both. I'm gonna try to use both. This is the Total Match Duo Shadow. And this is in the shade number 1, One and Only. So it looked a little bit peachier online, and that's why I got it. It does have a matte end and a shimmer end. And I'm just gonna take a little bit of this shimmer, place it right in the middle, and then just very gently blend out the edges. And then I'm gonna go back in and try to build up the inner and outer corner. And then I'm gonna go into the individual shadow that I got, which is called Lucent Cream Eyeshadow in the shade Comet. Now, I wouldn't necessarily call this a cream. This is more of a creamy powder. So it's got that almost soft putty feel to it, but it definitely, once it comes on the hand, is more of a powder, but it leaves an indent, right? I feel like we've all seen shadows that do that. So it's a very pretty color. I'm just gonna kind of try to top that cream shadow we put in the middle. It's not as bright on the eye as it is swatched. I'm gonna swatch this whole entire palette for you so you can see. I do think the shimmers perform better than the mattes as far as pigmentation goes. I also think that's kind of true for a lot of drugstore eyeshadows that I've tried, some even high end. I'm not saying that it's just drugstore priced shadows, but overall, I was not that impressed with this particular palette. This cream to powder is pretty on its own, but when you're topping something that has even more shimmer on it, it kind of dulls it down a little bit. So something to keep in mind as well. Okay, let's go on to powder. This is the Lavish Pressed Finishing Powder in the shade Medium. This does have rice starch in it, so it's something to think about. I don't think that that irritates as many people as corn starch can, but it also is fragrance free, and it says it's going to control excess oil and reduce the appearance of pores and fine lines. So I have used this again with this Moira. I just know I'm saying that wrong. I have used it with this foundation. I have used it with other foundations, but I'm going to put it over just half of the face with the Sigma Large Powder F30. And you can see how that did matte that down compared to this side. But it also blurred out my pores as well. I'll do a close-up here in a second. See how that's pretty blurred too? But it does create a nice flawless finish on the skin. So they have a lot of bronzer options. I'm looking, they have palettes like a Sculpt and Bronze palette. They have face palettes. They have bronze duos in like a little palette. They have a Sun Glow face and body bronzer. I got the signature bronzer, which comes like this. So it has like a little palm tree etched into it with a little bit of a lighter bronzer shade. And then the darker is kind of the sky behind it. It also comes with an extremely strong glitter overlay. So I wiped that off with a tissue. I wasn't even gonna try to put that on my face. So know that. And I got the shade 1 Sunkissed Honey. So I kind of swirl all of the two colors together and just apply that. This is the Sigma F53 airbrush. This is a really pretty bronzer. It is matte. Once you get that overlay off, it does not have any kind of shimmer or sheen at all. And it is $8.50. And it comes in 4 shades, and this is the lightest one, or at least the number 1. It appears to be the lightest one. So as far as matte bronzers go, I actually enjoy that one. Now I don't have a blush, so I just pulled out a blush palette. I don't even know if you can still get this, but this is from CoverGirl. It's the Clean Fresh blush palette, and it is Dreamin' Pink. And I'm just going to kind of mix these first 2 shades together. You know what I do feel like? And I'm sure y'all have recognized this, but I feel like my circles are really bad today. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm thinking it might be because the concealer was too dark, but it's not looking the best. I'm not really selling the under eye products. Let's just say that. But I'm looking at their highlight section, and they do have 4 highlighters as far as powder highlighters go. They have a kind of more white champagne. They have a pink one, a peach one, and more of a bronzy one. And then they have, the face palettes. I got the liquid highlighter, which they have 6 shades in. I got the shade Bubbly Champagne. I'm gonna swatch this for you, but I honestly don't think I can wear it because, and I don't even know if it's gonna come across on camera or not. I think it's gonna be able to, but there are chunks of glitter in this. I mean, that's a pretty highlight, don't get me wrong. I think that'd be a beautiful eyeshadow, but I don't think I can get through the chunkiness of the glitter. Oh my goodness, y'all. I think I'm gonna take one for the team. I have to see how it translates. Cause sometimes, and this is the only product I haven't used, obviously, because I can't get past that. But sometimes it surprises you. So let's just see. Please surprise me. I mean, it's definitely a highlight. And it definitely has chunks of glitter in it. I don't think it's like chunks that it's gonna end up falling out. And it's really not spreading like I want it to. It's setting down super fast. No, y'all, I don't like it. So that is a flop for me. I'm gonna go ahead and say that right now. I will end up giving that to one of my girls if they wanna play around with it, because that is not the kind of highlighter that I like to put on my face. I honestly should have gotten maybe one of the powder ones, but I just love a liquid highlight. So y'all, let's move on, shall we? Can't do anything about it. I'm gonna put a little bit of that same shadow that I used on the lid underneath the eye. Let me put something on the lips. This is the non-drugstore, non-Moira lip product. This is the Maracuja Juicy Lip Plump from Tarte, and this is in the shade Cherry Blossom, which honestly just gives a little bit of shine. So let's go on to mascara. They have 2. They have a volume and lifting and a volume and long lash. I got the volume and long lash mascara. I honestly can't even remember if I have tried this. I think I have tried it once. It comes with a very basic no frills brush, and I'm going to try it today with no primer. So I have curled my lashes, but I'm not gonna put any kind of lash primer on so that y'all can see exactly how this performs on its own. Okay, that's after 2 coats. So I definitely have more dramatic mascaras in my collection, but it's not bad at all. If you're someone who likes more of like a natural fluffy lash, I think you'll actually like this. This is also a drier formula. I get asked that a lot when I try new mascaras, whether or not it's a dry or wet formula. I do find this to be on the drier side, which is, again, not necessarily a bad thing. So that is the completed look. I'm kind of in a little bit of a love-hate relationship with Moira Cosmetics, at least as of right now. The eyeshadow palette is just not my favorite. Again, if you're someone who likes a very soft and subtle look and doesn't want to deal with something that has too much pigment, this might be up your alley. This is, I don't know that it's up anybody's alley. I'm just gonna say I'm well past the want or the desire for glitter in my highlight, and this definitely has it. So this was a definite flop. This was a flop for me, may not be a flop for other people. I preferred the cream shadow, and I don't dislike this one, especially on its own. I just feel like it kind of dialed down the vibrancy of the cream shadow, but swiped as like a wash of color over the lid, it is actually very pretty. I'm beginning to not be able to talk. Can you tell? The standouts for me are the bronzer, the powder, and the foundation. I do really enjoy all 3 of these, and the other products are kind of in between. They're not phenomenal, but they're not bad. So hopefully you enjoyed this, gave you an introduction to a brand that maybe you hadn't heard of before, gave you some thoughts on something to maybe try out or not try out. I will have it all listed and linked down in the description box. As usual, be sure and like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos. I hope you're all staying happy, healthy, and safe, and that you go out and have a very blessed day.